You're standing on the fact that Kenny G made some music right now. Like, this is what we're doing. I'm not gonna lie to you. The first time I thought Weird Al just took up a weird busted. I thought this was a bit.
Sideshow Bob
Yeah,
came to life.
I was waiting for him to start talking about how much he liked food according to a Michael Jackson song.
Oh man. I'll tell you what, my mom listened to that first Kenny G album like it was the Temptations. Oh, like it was, and I didn't
Had a
get
way
it.
with the ladies. I don't know. Maybe
He
it's
did, and I didn't get it because I played the saxophone,
mm,
but I played
did not do so well.
I played the alto. He
Okay.
was
Yeah, it was
soprano guy, right?
soprano higher than an alto.
Right.
That's how he sounded. Yeah. No, my mom loved him too. It was weird.
Yeah, well, I did alto, and then that was when Kenny G first came out, and then I was like, my mom was like, "Oh, see, this guy's awesome. He's cool. Right? You could be like him." I'm like, no, it's not that cool. And then I'd really have to try hard. And so then my saxophone days went like this. So at junior high, I
Mm.
played alto, and I was first chair. Like junior high, first chair meant
Look at
nothing.
you. There's a
Meant
flex. Yeah.
nothing. Meant nothing. Then it jumped to high school, and I'm like third, fourth chair alto, and I'm like, at first I was like, oh, this is awful. And then I like looked at the music. It's like, man, that means I have to take this home and practice it. So then I moved to tenor, and tenor was easier in
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
Um,
Ready for
but
your ska
then,
band?
but yeah, ska band would be great. But then what was best is the guy who played the baritone got kicked out of school. So I jumped up to baritone.
For being too cool? Or,
Yeah, he was a cool kid. I
oh, this is
can't
going to
remember
get
what it
dark.
was
Let's
for.
not go down that road.
No, I don't remember what it was from.
Okay.
But he got kicked out of school. Or he
Shouldn't
left.
have.
Maybe I shouldn't be saying he got
Maybe he
kicked out.
graduated.
Maybe he graduated in the middle of the semester as a junior. I don't know. Could have happened. But anyways, he wasn't there anymore. I jumped up to baritone, and that was the best thing that I ever done because I still got the big locker
Okay.
to put my instrument in, even though the baritone sax wouldn't fit in the locker. So
Oh,
it
so you just got free
stayed.
locker.
So I got big free locker, and it was nothing but whole notes and half notes. I didn't have to practice. Oh man, it was glorious. It was so good. But then Kenny G was out. He did his 15 minutes of fame. Did his two albums and
It's
his
Christmas
Christmas
album.
album, right?
Yeah.
His Christmas album, and he got
Still
out.
hear that echoing in the halls of a Hobby Lobby somewhere
I know he
in
got his money
September.
and got out. Did
Yeah.
you know though? Last thing before we jump into the what did we call it? The encore.
The encore.
Sorry for starting the encore with Kenny G.
No,
Um,
that's how that's how you should expect the rest of it to go to, kids.
is uh he holds a world record. Did you know he holds a world record?
Longest note?
Mm-hmm.
Really? I was just
Did you know
guessing.
that? No,
No.
longest note because he mastered circular breathing. It's where you can
I wish I could
inhale,
do that.
put
Yeah,
a
through your nose
pocket,
while you're yeah.
right? And he mastered it. I Google it right now. It's something like an hour. He's holding one note like an hour, just walking around a stage for an hour with one
Could have
note.
played baritone if it was just one note for an hour.
I know, but it's like, all right, hey, you got that going for you, guy. So well done. That was his encore after his two albums and the Christmas album. He's like, I got to do something for a claim to fame still. Let me
Like,
hold the
man.
longest note.
And he did it just to one note on a soprano sax, which had to have been the most annoying sound in the world. I bet he could have gone 2 hours, but somebody stabbed him because they were
Right.
furious.
It's so bad. That saxophone. The soprano sax has such an ear piercing
Yes, it did.
sound.
Mhm.
It's I'd
It
rather
was
hear a
not a silent
clarinet.
night nor a holy night on his
No,
Christmas
I'd
album.
rather hear an oboe.
Actually would too, because that's just kind of a funny sound. Hey kids, let's talk about the post resurrection of Jesus, the encore to the resurrection of Jesus.
Is this going to be a full episode, or are we just going to
I don't
fly
know.
through this?
Let's see how long it takes us. That's how we have done this entire 2 seasons through one book so far, and it has been not a success. Why change it now? on the
Why
encore.
change it now? Why
Yeah.
change it now?
So this was not in the earliest manuscripts. This came later. This is the postlude, the encore. I think that this is the church trying to just sort of,
Well, hold on.
well, hold on.
Hold
Hold
on.
on.
I don't know if we could. First off, I'm not a Mark scholar enough to definitively be able to say this was not originally there. We do have like you said, the earliest manuscripts that we have do not have this section
It
there.
doesn't mean that it was not there. I hear you.
It doesn't mean that it wasn't there. It doesn't mean that it wasn't part of the first century church tradition either.
And it
All
also
that it,
doesn't mean that it wasn't written by Mark. Maybe he came
correct.
back later and was like, all right, I thought this was enough. I understand. I thought I was being pretty punk rock about the whole thing. Let's just give you your happy ending encore.
Yeah, and
Maybe
he very
people
well could
actually
have.
yelled, ole, 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 ole,
Right,
ole,
and
ole at him,
and
and he
what
walked back out.
and wanted this extra little spot. And to be fair, and we'll put this on there, and we're not going to have a 5-minute discussion on this, but to be fair, we do
To be fair,
have to be fair, we do have in our confessions the
reference
second
to this.
part of not just obviously in the Small Catechism in reference to baptism, but I believe the Apology has a reference to
Mm-hmm.
the second half of chapter 16. I think the Formula of Concord does as well. So within our confessions, we do tie and go back to we hold this doctrine of Scripture, and here is one of the places where we get it from. So to be fair,
To be fair,
we do use it.
there's some wonderful truth in this. There truly is. This has been, excuse me, part of the church's lectionary as well, since historic times. There's absolutely reason to study the end of Mark, even in the long form. But I wanted to do a bit. Now,
Well, that's
beginning
fine.
of verse 9, now when he, being Jesus, rose early on the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, from whom he had cast out 7 demons. She went and told those who had been with him, as they mourned and wept. But when they had heard that he was alive and had been seen by her, they would not believe it. After these things, he appeared in another form to 2 of them as they were walking into the country. And they went back and told the rest, but they did not believe them. And afterward he appeared to the 11 themselves as they were reclining at the table, and he rebuked them for their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they had not believed those who saw him after he had risen. And he said to them, go into all the world, and proclaim the gospel to the whole creation. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will accompany those who believe. In my name they will cast out demons. They will speak in new tongues. They will pick up serpents with their hands, and if they drink any deadly poison, it will not hurt them. They will lay their hands on the sick, and they will recover. So the Lord Jesus, after he had spoken to them, was taken up into heaven and sat down at the right hand of God. And they went out and preached everywhere, while the Lord worked in them and confirmed the message by the accompanying signs. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God. Yeah. So where do
So
you
what do
want to
you
go with
see?
this?
Yeah, what do you see?
It is interesting, um, just from a linguistic point of view, or maybe that's the wrong word to use. But it is
That's a fun
interesting
critique of the word linguistic,
that
if you think about it.
it is that it does sound different than the rest of Mark.
Mm.
A little bit. It's got a
Yeah,
little bit of a different flavor there. And I don't know what to make of that. It doesn't mean that it's a different author, right? Just
yeah.
because,
Let's not get higher
yeah.
criticism on it.
No,
That's
and
like
we're not
picking through
going to.
Paul's works. Yeah,
No, at all. And it
or
very well,
Beatles albums.
right.
They wrote the White Album. It was just drugs, kids.
No, wait a minute. The
The
White
White Album.
Album's great.
It's great. It's fantastic. You
Yeah.
don't think that it was also composed under the influence of substances that you shall not use?
No, I think 2/3 of the Beatles' work was. Um,
Yeah, but it's not different Beatles. That's
right.
my point.
I would
I
have
love the
said
White
Sar-
Album.
I
I'm
would have
not.
said
I'm not.
Sergeant Pepper's if I was
Yeah.
going.
Well.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a horrible album.
It's not
For
their
another
best.
day. For another day.
Or another
All right.
encore.
So yeah, there is a lot that we could get from here. one of the things that I did want to preface, even though like in the Small Catechism we do quote Mark 16:16 in regards to baptism. One of the things that is there is that what we're pulling from Mark 16:16 isn't just a proof text, right? Because we as Lutherans don't just do proof text. Like we're pulling this one text and this one text only to prove our point here. The Mark 16:16 quote there that Luther is using in the Small Catechism
Mhm.
is should better be seen as here is an example of the doctrinal truth that we are saying. We will find it in more places than just Mark 16:16.
Right. And if
And
you
so
want to
we
get like all the way into the deep end of the pool too, we will not proof text out of any particular Bible book or section therein that has been contested by any of the church fathers throughout history. And so we have books that are prolegomena, first words, and we have words that Bible books of the Bible, excuse me, that are homologomena, that is secondary words. And so, for example, the book of Hebrews, where the author is contested, the book of the Revelation of Saint John, that has been at least in part contested. What is it? Is it Second Peter that people have poked at a little bit? Um,
think so.
we'll say these are good books of the Bible and they belong in the Bible and we believe them to be true, but we're not drawing primary doctrine sources out of them. We'll use them as supportive works only. And that's also true of Mark 16:16, for example. It is a supportive text to understand baptism.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with that said, should we just kind of walk through? Because it
Yeah.
seems to be three different sections. We got Mary Magdalene, we got the apostles, and then we've got it seems to be the apostolic sending
Yeah.
of the apostles here. So what do you got with Mary Magdalene?
It's still pretty messy, which I like. That it's still sort of met with at least doubt, if not raw unbelief. And again, the church is founded not on the backs of the apostles, but on the Christ who has risen for them and will work through them. Because it actually is tied very much to the sending. Like it's as soon as Jesus rebukes them that he says, "Yeah, now you guys are the ones who are going to go preach this to the world, and I am going to be the one who will be there where word and sacrament are, because salvation comes where you believe and are baptized." And so in all of it, again, it's sort of Jesus conquering unbelief the very same way that Jesus conquers sin and death.
Yeah, it is from a very practical point of view. It is kind of it continues on with not just the narrative as if we're making up a story, but the way in which it does play out.
Hmm.
That we get to hear in the other texts as well. That Jesus, John tells us this, and other, I believe Luke tells us this as well. Jesus, he appears to the women, right?
Hmm.
It's it be and partly, mostly, probably because um, those who were supposed to be closest to him, the men who were supposed to stand up before Satan and tell
Oh, they
tell
all
him,
dipped.
right, right. It's like, yeah, those were the ones who were saying, "Hey, Satan, don't give my wife this forbidden fruit." But instead, they're standing behind the wife, and I think we get the same sort of thing kind of happening here. It's like all of those guys who promised, just like Peter, that we'll be there the whole way. They're still hiding, and so we've got these women who have faithfully gone to the tomb to do what needs to be done in the preparation of this body. Who's going to roll the stone away? I'm not sure. We're here anyways. All of this stuff still
Hmm.
covered in a shroud of doubt and a little bit of fear and trembling. Jesus tells Mary, "Mary, go tell my disciples." Disciples are like, "Please."
They were like, "Pff." Also, there's an apologetic here. If we're going to sort of base this on our word instead of like, well, I can point at him and he's waving and you can still see the hole, you probably don't give it to women, at least at this particular time in history. And it was wrong, but at that time, women could not legally give an account in a court of law. If you want this thing to stand, like we're laying this out, you would give it to, well, John, maybe Peter.
So
That
what's your
that it
point? What's your point in that? Because that's not what Jesus does.
No, instead he lets this stand in a place that's a mess. He lets this stand in a place where again doubt has to be overcome, not by reason but by faith, by proclamation, by the promise of the Holy Spirit
Yeah.
that is given. And this is I think better, because when we start to talk about how to sort of reason somebody into faith, I love apologetics because I struggle with doubt. But at the same time, the thing that has made me a Christian and keeps me a Christian is the Holy Spirit and Word and Sacrament. And so it's a glorious thing that this would defy logic but not history.
Yeah. I mean, Higher Things even did what was it? It
We
was
did a
2 years
whole,
ago?
yeah,
Beyond
beyond reasonable
Reasonable
doubt.
Doubt? Right.
Loved it.
It was a whole, conference on apologetics. Also, with the understanding that apologetics, as that good and faithful and proper tool that it is, um,
Hmm.
still isn't that which, creates faith. It is the
Right.
Holy Spirit through the proclamation of the word. Um, the one session specifically loved was with the plenary speaker. He did just a phenomenal job. Two sessions worth of um, apologetics on the resurrection and how important that is, because I mean that's how Paul will speak of that, right? If
Yeah.
Christ isn't risen from the dead, then everything is in vain and everything falls apart. So the resurrection is the crux of the whole matter. But
Yeah.
again, that's for a whole nother encore. It's for the double encore that
Yeah.
won't be
It's like
coming.
when somebody writes PS and gives you the postscript, but then they have more and they say PPS and I giggle because I'm 12 and
I don't
PP.
get it.
I do. It's
What do
tinkle.
you mean?
It's going to the bathroom. Um, just see you're 12 too. Don't take the high road here, my guy.
No, no,
We have a lot of seasons established right now of us both being
no.
middle school when it comes to
I'm
humor.
only giggling because you actually you actually went with it. You fulfilled the
You
bit.
asked. I feel like this is on you. What else do you see here?
The
You
Mary
see
Magdalene, or
descending.
are we moving on?
Let's move on. This descending.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you see more stuff in Mary Magdalene?
I don't know if I do. I mean, if we're just speaking specifically of this text, I mean, I think we could always extrapolate it out and
Mm,
connect it to the other accounts as well. But I think we've tried to do a decent decent job of just making this a podcast about Mark.
Mark.
Um, so I don't know if I want to pull in all of the other resurrection accounts. Let's just stick with Mark. Mark being
Yeah,
Mark.
I think so. That's where you have sort of you lose sort of the theological push that the evangelist is making when you start to knit them all together, and you see more of the story, you see more of the truth. It's good, but when you actually just stick with one of the actual gospels, you'll see what it is they're driving at here.
Right,
And
and
again,
it's
I
good.
think
No, I was just gonna say it's good to do both, right?
yeah,
It's good to take the gospels and knit them all together and hear the account as a whole for the resurrection. It's good to hear each individual author as the point that they're driving from.
mhm,
They're not contradictory, anything like that. All right. So after these things, oh, I'm not supposed to read, but I will because it's the
do it.
encore. After these things, he appeared in another form to two of them as they were walking into the country, and they went back and told the rest, but they did not believe. How do you? That does
I'm
sound like he's put pointing to something that we hear somewhere else,
Yeah, I'm
which would
not touching that
be
with a 10-foot pole. I need you to do this.
no, you're not.
I'm
I mean,
afraid of
I.
it.
What
Teach
are
me
you
to.
afraid of?
I don't understand what to do with it. Like I still don't to this day.
I don't know what to do with it either, which hopefully I think that's why we don't have this in any of our lectionary. And I've never
Hmm.
really done a Bible study on this either. The only thing that I can get is Mark is doing a wink and a nod, whether it's beforehand or afterwards. And maybe he's actually spoken to Luke, um, because this does sound like the road to Emmaus, right?
Mm, okay.
This sounds
Okay.
like the road to Emmaus.
That tracks
Um,
actually.
And so my because again, it's two on the road
Mm,
and it's in
hmm.
another form. And I don't think it was like he was as
That
a
makes so
giant
much
bird
sense.
walking
Yeah.
through, right? But it's this
Well, I went like my mind honestly went to like the revelator. Like it was this, fire eye sword mouth Jesus who appeared on the. No, that makes way more sense. Thank you.
No, I don't think it is. I think it was Jesus masking himself for that 7 mile trek down to Emmaus,
Hmm.
and then And then afterwards, at the end of that, and you can read more of that in Luke, at the end of that, it is in the breaking of the bread. They recognize Jesus for who he is, and they sprint back 7 miles to tell the apostles, which is the beautiful thing then, I think, that we've got in 14 then as well, because I think it ties. And again, I don't know if Mark is doing a wink and a nod to Luke, or it's like Luke has written out his already, and now Mark is saying, if you want to know more, it's right there.
Sure.
Or if it's, I know Luke is going to tease this one out, and so I'll just kind of give a little bit of a starter, right? But as that section ends with the breaking of the bread and recognizing Jesus, how do we have verse 14 starting? Afterwards, Jesus, he being Jesus, appeared to the 11 themselves as they were reclining at the table. I don't think they were having the Lord's Supper, but that is language of
that calls to table fellowship and
right. And we get to hear that reclining language at the feeding of the 4,000, feeding of the 5,000. We get to hear that at the Lord's Supper. So again,
and it's met with rebuke because they're doing it wrong. Because table fellowship is not table fellowship unless Jesus is there. Like, and this is the thing you build a church around. It's not built around community. It is a body of Christ gathered around Christ, who is the head. And when you sort of switch those two things around, the church turns in on itself in a way that's never actually all that helpful. He rebukes them even though they were doing table fellowship language, communion-esque language, because they're trying to have communion without a present Jesus. And I don't know, maybe communion is actually Jesus' body and blood. Maybe he's actually present in church. It's just a thought.
No, I think that is all there in 14. I think and again, if the disciples were recognizing what they were doing, I don't think they were sitting down behind a locked room saying we need to be in unity with each other just for the sake of unity. I think this was a preservation sort of thing for them, where they're still terrified of the Romans. They're still terrified of ending up on the cross just like Jesus did. Now they're getting all these accounts trickling in from women and elsewhere that Jesus has risen from the dead, and they've still got this doubt and unbelief because they haven't seen. And like you said, I think there is this. They're gathered together, but it's for a different reason, even if they don't recognize it. And I think oftentimes that's what we do too, as a church body, and we think. And I'm just going to go down this road because this is the door that you open.
Yeah.
It's really easy for us to say, what is it about your church that you love so much? And we'll take our congregation in mind and we'll say all of these things. And the first 10 things that we pop out have nothing to do with doctrine, right? But it has to do with peripheral, temporal sort of things, which aren't necessarily bad or evil, but those are the things that we are putting the most focus on, so that our unity, like you were saying, is found in the fact that we do X, Y, and Z in these human traditions, or this is what we do, or we've got a really good organist, or my whatever, right? As opposed to, I'm utterly convinced that that when I go to church, I hear the word properly proclaimed and the sacraments are rightly administered. Thanks be to God.
Yeah, because those are the things that Jesus puts in front of them while they're doing this. No, go proclaim the gospel and baptize.
Right. So, yeah, just going down that rabbit hole that you open up for us. I think we do have even right there on Sunday afternoon. Presumably, that's when this is. We've got a bit of a rebuke that Jesus is giving here of, hey, no. Unity, communion, fellowship is found in me.
Right. Well, an irony of ironies, he's going to give them then the thing that the enthusiasts will grab hold of. That you see it in verse 17. There will be signs that accompany those who believe, which means go along with. Like it will be there in the periphery, but it's so easy to make it the same because it's impressive. They'll cast out demons, they'll speak in tongues, they'll handle snakes, they'll drink poison, and they will heal the sick. This is the whole faith healer movement that has taken, again, Jesus and put him off to the side and put these things front and center, instead of simply saying, listen, if Jesus is here, like, don't be surprised if you see people who are sick get better. And if Jesus is here, don't be surprised if that language then actually reaches out in ways that you don't understand and grabs hold of people. Now, I do believe that tongues were miraculously spoken, and I believe that they've stopped because the tongues were actually about making more people hear the word of Jesus, not less. It was not about hiding the word, but actually proclaiming it further out. And now we actually have the church speaking in all of those languages already by training pastors, and
Right.
who speak those languages. But in all of this, like we try to, again, switch these things around and again find something that isn't Jesus in word and sacrament and put it forward. And there you have something that is always a very curved in on itself church, be it through community programs or snake handling. If it's not Jesus in word and sacrament, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. And again, I'm pretty convinced that this isn't just. I don't think Jesus is painting with a broad brush and saying that this is going to happen for everybody. I think
Mhm.
it's more of a
Or
fine,
forever.
or forever. I think it's more of a fine brush of because he's speaking to his the 11. He's speaking to the apostles here, and I think he's saying that these are the things that very soon are going to accompany you as you proclaim the church. Because you can go through this, and apart from the drinking poison, you could look at the book of Acts, and maybe there's something there too. But you could look at the book of Acts, and you could see all these things happen in the apostolic ministry within the first generation of the church.
Sure.
You have this speaking of tongues. You can actually see Peter and John and Paul casting out, I think Paul does, casting out demons. You literally have at the end of Acts on the shipwrecked island, um, Paul getting bit by a viper, and everybody's sure that he's going to die, and it doesn't happen. So, I mean, you see all of these things literally taking place in the apostles and in their ministry. Not that they're better in and of themselves in any way, shape, or form, but we've got the office that Jesus has set forth in order to bring forth his church in the proclamation of word and sacraments. And
Mhm.
here are some of the ways and things that are going to accompany the proclamation of the word and the sacraments, for the building and edifying of the church. And they may not last forever, and they probably don't, which is fine.
They might come back though. And this is where we take tongues.
Maybe.
It's passed away, but if the church ever enters into a day of persecution again, I wouldn't be shocked to see it again if we need to. I wouldn't be shocked to see any one of these things. But like this is sort of the order of it, and this is the danger of this thing called enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is trying to measure the presence of God by the accompanying signs instead of by the promise. And
Right.
so, like, do you feel God in your heart right now? Well, whenever you need God the most, He'll always feel the farthest away. And if you need to prove God's presence by handling a snake instead of receiving a baptism, one of those has the promise of forgiveness of sins and one doesn't. And you're setting behind yourself the forgiveness so that you can try and prove it. And that's backwards. But instead of this, we simply get to be just the right amount of mystic. And we get to sort of say, if baptism actually saves you, if he who believes and is baptized will save, then I can't like be shocked to witness it in action. I
Hmm.
can't be like utterly astounded that the demons would flee something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Which is where, especially with the 16:16, he who believes and is baptized will be saved; who does not believe will be condemned. We've got with that, and it's the proper way. I like how you said it. We've got the right amount of mysticism, right?
Mhm.
Particularly with that little section there. We are speaking of. Yeah, the Lord works through these miraculous ways and these heavenly ways. And for baptism itself, um, goodness, why would you despise that which God has promised to use to bring forth life and salvation?
Mhm.
We wouldn't, right? If you actually believe, you would not despise baptism. It just wouldn't happen,
Right.
right?
Well, and it also
Um,
helps us navigate those waters of like, what about the person who believes and isn't baptized? Well, I mean, and the fathers have grabbed hold of this all the way through. Augustine, most notably, sort of says it's not the lack of baptism, but the rejection of baptism that condemns.
exactly.
It is unbelief that condemns. And so that means
Absolutely.
if you're not baptized yet, but you believe, well, you're on your way to being baptized.
Hmm.
And you're right. Maybe
Right.
something happens before you get there, but you're on your way if you believe this.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. All right. So I should probably put my rattlesnake away, is what you're saying. The one
I
back.
just
Don't
do it
bring
in
that
your own
out on
time.
Sunday.
Like it's Jake the Snake Roberts deal doesn't really do it for me. He was a
It
good
was a boa
wrestler.
constrictor. It was a
Yeah,
boa
that's true.
constrictor.
Okay, I
It
apologize. I
was not
repent.
a viper. It was a constrictor.
Like because
Yeah,
like you don't want to go like what if he bit somebody?
it would be good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it was Hulk. Hulk had the pythons, but those were his muscles.
it's because he ate his vitamins.
I don't think so because I ate vitamins. I think you meant to say anabolic steroids, but
uh, I forgot to use the air quotes. Vitamins.
yeah,
Now that is encompasses the
uh
allegedly
allegedly,
Hulk Hogan. Allegedly.
allegedly,
Allegedly. All right. All right. Then we get a small little ascension, right?
just the right
Verse
amount.
19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the church now. He sat down
Yeah.
at the right hand of God, and there was preaching, and the church is sustained. God be praised.
Wonderful. Are we actually done with Mark?
I don't even know how to do it, but yeah, I think so.
That's crazy. Are we done now? Are we retired? Are we hanging this up?
No, no, we're gonna. You
We
want to
could give
tackle
a gift.
Galatians still?
We could
We
give
can
a
tackle
gift to the
Galatians.
church.
No, I want to be a burden to the church. Let's do Galatians.
I guess
Here's
we're
some more
doing
stuff for you guys to
Galatians.
clean up after.
I guess we're doing Galatians, folks.
Let's do it by plagiarizing though, by orthodoxing. Let's grab Luther's commentary on Galatians and cheat.
All right, the lesser one, right?
No, it's in the word. Let's
Oh,
go
okay.
greater.
The greater Galatians. Okay, fine. So I think our thought is, folks, that we are going to try and work our way through Galatians with Luther's commentary in mind. I don't think we're going to. Luther's commentary is huge. We're not going to be
Yeah, we're not
reading
gonna
it
get the
with
whole
us.
thing.
And so we're probably not going to be quoting all of it either. But the way in which he works through the Galatians is going to kind of be the way that we're going to be working through Galatians. So
Like it.
got that to look forward to, Phil.
See you next time, Phil.